Good morning, everyone. My name is Eurica Adjokatcher. I'm a marketing analyst from ALX Ghana. And I'm so excited to welcome you to today's session on building Ghana's digital workforce, skills, jobs, and policy pathways for the next generation in partnership with Ghana Digital Innovation Week. Thank you so much to the Africa Discourse Channel for facilitating this session. Now, we all know where the world of work is going. Like, it's changing fast. AI, remote jobs, the future is digital. And the question is, how are we ready to take our place in it? Right? At ALX, we believe Africa's greatest potential lies in its people, in the young people, the ambitious minds that are ready to build, innovate, and lead. And that's what today's conversation is all about, right? So before we dive in, let's take a moment to see what potential looks like in action through the story of one of our incredible ALX learners. Let's roll the video.
Hi, my name is Manny, and I landed a job in tech without a degree. This is how I did it. I'm very passionate about tech, but at some point in my learning process, I felt stuck. So I joined the ALX software engineering program, and after graduation, I am now working as a back-end engineer writing systems at Data. The one thing I realized very early on was what I'm learning in the ALX software engineering program and what I'm doing at Data are very similar in the sense of collaboration, what we do with code, and leadership. If you're feeling stuck, find a supportive community doing what you love, put yourself out there, and don't stop learning.
I don't know about you, but that was a really inspiring story for me. Like, for me, seeing this all front and center, like in the heat of the moment and everything, it's amazing, right? It's mind-blowing what tech is doing for people, how it's changing lives, and it's not just a tagline, right, in some campaign. And that's exactly why we're here today, to talk about how we can create more of these success stories like Manny's across Ghana. Because building a digital workforce isn't just about teaching code or digital tools. It's about building confidence, it's about building access and opportunity for every young person ready to take that leap. So to help us unpack what it really takes to make that happen, from skills to jobs to policy, we have an incredible lineup of speakers with us today. Our first speaker is Benardine Ghanson, the Learner Community Experience Specialist from ALX Ghana. She's the bridge between our learners and then growth opportunity. And as a Learner Community Experience Specialist, she's passionate about helping young people unlock the skills that shape the future of work. Welcoming Benardine Ghanson. Next is Thelma Deku, who is the Partnerships Manager at Bandwidth Global. Her work sits right at the intersection of global opportunity and African excellence. She works with a company that connects global companies with Africa's top 1%. So please help me in welcoming Thelma Deku as well. And last but certainly not the least, we have a powerhouse in the education and technology space in Ghana, the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance. He's been leading national conversations on how digital learning can transform access and inclusion across Ghana. Let's also welcome Kwame and Nyatuame. Thank you so much to all of our speakers for being here with us today. So we're about to dive right in. My first question goes to you, Thelma. No, I'm not picking on you, but this one is more, in your lane, right? So Bandwidth Global connects global opportunities with Africa's top 1% of talent. From your perspective, what skills or traits make Ghanaian talent stand out? And what gaps do you think still exist when competing on the global stage?
Okay, thank you very much for your question, Eurica. It's a very important question. First of all, I must say that I really love and admire the way Ghanaian youth work. We are very resilient, we are very adaptable, we are able to learn very fast. No matter the situation or environment you place them in, they are able to adapt. I see it every day at work at Bandwidth Global with our resources. Another thing I also love about Ghanaian workers is their determination to succeed. You can see that they are determined to overcome any obstacle just to succeed at their workplace. And also, I think another important trait I also admire with Ghanaian staff, and I also see that every day at Bandwidth Global, is they are very hardworking, from the operations team to the client relations manager, the engineers, the designers, our social media marketers. They are so hardworking, and you can see a lot of teamwork spirit within them, and it's very admirable. But however, if you would ask me some of the things that we can improve on to be globally ready, the global stage is evolving very fast. The bar is rising, and if we do not rise up, we'll be left behind. One of the things I have personally observed is that we need to deepen our knowledge in advanced AI and digital skills. Aside that, we need to be able to be confident in using global communication tools that let remote work be seamless when you're collaborating with the outside world, and also to understand the international cross culture, because I realize that our Ghanaian culture is very different from the international culture. One of the things that is very big on the global stage from the employers is initiatives. You don't have to wait to be told what to do. You don't need your boss to micromanage you. No, you need to be able to take ownership of your own work. Documentation is also very important. When you are working with a group across time zones, you need to be able to use the tools that are available to collaborate seamlessly so you can work in real time, just the same as you are working, in the physical space. But I realize that some of these things we need to have more knowledge on that front. And another key thing that I'm also very passionate about, and I think it is a major gap, is the mindset shift. We need to be able to have a mindset shift because it's the foundation. You can learn all the skills, you can acquire all the technical skills, the digital AI tools, but to be able to implement it efficiently and confidently, to give yourself that value. And that is what I see lagging. Some workers are just adamant. They are not too careful about innovation. They are not careful about saving, the revenue of the company. Some of these things are what make you valuable to your employers. So that is what I would see, and to determine or say that is a gap in the Ghanaian talent source resources.
That's a coincidence, Thelma, because everything you mentioned is what we actually tackle here at ALX, and it's not because I'm the marketing analyst. That's not why I'm saying this. Like, it's genuinely true. I'm sure a lot of people have questions when you started speaking. I know I do. So if you do have questions, please remember to put them or ask them in the comment section. After our delightful panel, we will be able to answer a few of your questions. Thank you, Thelma, for that very detailed answer. Our next question, I'm going to pick Kwame. Kwame, as someone leading the conversation at the intersection of education and technology, what policy interventions or partnerships do you believe are essential to scaling digital education across Ghana? Like beyond the major cities, beyond Accra, because Ghana is bigger than just Accra. So,
yeah. Thank you so much. My name is Kwame Nyatuame. On the continent, I am Africa's biggest EdTech enthusiast and storyteller. In Ghana, I am the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance, which is pretty much an association of education technology startups and companies in Ghana. So I pretty much have, my day-to-day is pretty much interacting with entrepreneurs who are leveraging on technology to improve education as we know it. Your question is very loaded. When I think about it, how I think about it is, or one of the things that moves me a lot, and if you like the Ghana EdTech Alliance by extension, is the fact that we have a country to build. So I paint the picture of, and this is something I typically say in most of the conversations that I do have, that of all the places we could have been born, right? Of all the places, and this is to the audience as well, of all the places we could have been born, it's the die was cast, and this was the location that we were put in. And I do definitely have a strong conviction that, whatever it is that you believe in, God, whatever it is, the universe, I think that, it generally just puts its best soldiers in the most difficult terrain, right? And I think that we are here, honestly, to, in a sense, show that, with knowledge, with wisdom, with innovation, with critical thinking, with collaboration, we would be able to dominate our environment and make it conducive, and ensure that people within that geographical space, as it is, would thrive and thrive very well. And like you said, Eurica, you alluded to very beautifully that ALX, for example, is, identifies that at the core of the transformation that we want to see in Ghana and wherever it is, right? It's people, right? They say if you go anywhere and you admire anything about, a country or a place, first look at its leaders, number one, and then number two, look at its people. It's people who make things better or worse, right? So for anything that we complain about in Ghana, from galamsey to, water crisis, to food being expensive, to the fact that many parts in our country are not organized, we have to look at number one, the leaders, and then number two, it's people, right? Are we there, in terms of mindset? Are we there in terms of, knowledge? Are we there in terms of applying our knowledge to dominate our environment and ensure that it's one that is conducive for all of us to thrive? And segueing that to education, right? I mean, I'm sure all of us joining this call, including our panelists, identify that education is that real catalyst that is going to get our human resource to where we want to get it to. And another thing I say is that, if the day you realize you are last in class for a number of terms, right, the first best moment is recognizing that, no, I cannot be last again, right? I need to do something about my situation. The next step is to actively leverage or figure out what are the things that can push me from maybe bottom 5 to maybe mid 5, or maybe go all the way to top 5, right? And in our case, technology is available, right? Technology has come in to transform the game, right? So back then, we had our scientists and whatnot. They had to read voluminous books, right? When they called you a scholar back then, it meant a lot, because it was a lot of grueling work. And I'm sure if I go around the audience and ask about the education experience, a lot of people will have a lot of things to say, in terms of the education experience. I think that when you are preparing a meal, if maybe you have to use tomatoes, if the tomatoes is molding a bit, you can throw it away. Unfortunately, you can't do same to human beings, right? Human beings are valuable. So we need to create an education system of sorts that brings them up to par for them to be able to realize their potential and contribute meaningfully to the country and continents that we are trying to build. And so for me, digital education is a no-brainer, right? Unfortunately, in our part of the world, we got to the stage where COVID, if you like, pretty much opened our eyes to the fact that we're lagging behind in terms of getting technology into the classroom, right? So I'm happy about the fact that post-COVID, we are beginning to see a lot of conversations around how do we leverage on technology to improve, teaching and learning? How do we get leverage on technology to, ensure that the subjects that we teach are engaging, right? How do we ensure we are leveraging on technology to improve learning outcomes? Because we want to ensure that in terms of substance, the substance that our learners get, we want them to be able to embody those concepts, go out into the real world, and then solve the problems. And those are the conversations that have been happening. And so for me, we must treat digital education, as it should be at the forefront of everything that we do. And ALX is a beautiful example of, an entity that is leveraging on technology to transfer some valuable skill to learners, right? So if we are building a country, the core asset I believe we develop is the human capacity. And policy at any level must unlock teachers, number one, number two, learners, And then number 3, local innovators across the board. I like that you mentioned that not just Accra, but it should just be across the board. And so for me, I would highlight 3 things very quickly in terms of priority areas. I think number 1 is, at the core of the transformation in the classroom is the teacher, right? So I think that a national teacher digital upskilling is a no-brainer, right? We need to have some sort of mandatory modular CPD pathway for every classroom teacher, right? Be it blended learning, micro credentials, mentorship that links, certification and upscaling to promotion and so on and so forth. And I'm happy to say that, the National Teaching Council has been embarking on, this sort of activity where, especially when it comes to the digital space, they, in a sense, encourage, right, and quote unquote persuade, and in some cases, force, right, quote unquote, force them to teachers to upskill themselves, right, to get to the point where they are digitally literate. The reason there is that quality classrooms require well-prepared teachers, not just devices, right? We want the teacher in the north somewhere in Savelugu to be able to teach and ensure that she inspires her learners in a way that is beneficial for the country. Number 2, is a very belabored point, but is affordable and resilient and available connectivity. That's data and then power. Because without digital tools, without electricity and without power, without data and then without power, there's no way you can use digital tools and then get the best out of them. So having reliable basic connect. I will speak about the country being obsessed, quote unquote, with data collection, because data turns pilots into policy that shows an understanding of what is happening on the ground. It shows what works and what doesn't work. So if we can have a system where we prioritize, data collection, we prioritize data analysis, so data analytics and so on, understanding that what's happening in the classroom in the northern region, what's happening in the classroom in the south, what's happening in the classroom in the east. Are we able to get credible data to know what a teacher is teaching in the classroom? Are we able to get credible data to know, whether students are understanding what is happening in the classroom? All of that, I believe, culminates to where we are going to birth a new generation of learners who are focused on transforming the country as we know it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. It was just as much of a loaded answer to a loaded question, right? I'm sure there are some questions in the comments. I've already seen Gideon Mensah ask a few, and I've already seen some people who are current ALX learners who are saying we are here. Guys, thank you so much. We are so glad to see you over here. Philapi, Yabuatema, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. So our next question goes to Benardine. Benny, ALX has been at the forefront of equipping young people with the skills needed for the digital economy. From your experience working directly with the learners, what do you think are the most critical digital and soft skills that young Ghanaians need to stay competitive in the next decade?
Thank you, Eurica. I kind of like the fact that the panelists are all like referencing back to ALX.
Yes.
Really cool. When we talk about Ghana's digital workforce, we are really talking about readiness for the next decade. A decade shaped by AI, data automation, and borderless digital work. According to a 2024 World Bank study on the future of work in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa could create over 230 million digital-related jobs by 2030. But only if young people are equipped with both digital and human-centered skills. Similarly, a 2023 Ghana Digital Skills Gap assessment by the International Finance Corporation found that over 60% of Ghanaian employers struggle to fill roles requiring even basic digital competency, things like data analysis, cloud tools, or digital marketing. From my experience working directly with thousands, and I mean thousands of
Mm-hmm.
ALX Ghana learners as well as community members. I grouped the needed skills into two clusters, looking at technical and digital skills and soft or meta skills. Now, we talk about technical and digital skills. These are the foundations that let our youth build, not just use technology. For example, if you talk about data literacy and analytics, which deals with interpreting data and the usage of data to make decisions. And a number of times, even with ALX as a staff member in Eurica, you'll be my witness. We, the staff, even use the data all the time to make these decisions. And I know learners or community members here would even bet the fact that we run a lot of feedback with them in order to get enough data to reshape and redesign programs over the period. There is cloud computing and automation, and Ghana's shift toward digital public services. And we've all seen how we are automating the public service, and tech entrepreneurship would require cloud savvy professionals. So over the period, the Ghanaian economy itself, as well as work out there, is also shifting from the localized old ways of working to digital. We also have digital product skills, which deals with web development, UI, UX, and digital marketing that turn ideas into real solutions. But if we stop there, we risk producing technically skilled but professionally unready graduates. And that brings me to the most, I would say, hardest category, which is the soft and meta skills. And usually when you talk about soft skills, people feel, oh, it doesn't add up. So far as I have the degree, I have the certificate, I have the skills, the digital skills, I'm good to go. But that's a no, because these are the abilities that make learning and working human, and they are what employers across Africa consistently say are missing. A 2022 African Development Bank report, and I brought these studies so that people would realize that we are not saying, ALX is not saying, so that people would just sign up to our course. But it's the study out there that's also influencing the kind of courses that we are providing. African Development Bank report found that communication, teamwork, and problem solving are the top 3 skill gaps cited by employers who are hiring the youth. And in Ghana, companies hiring for digital roles from fintech to customer support reportedly tell us that soft skills are the differentiator. And that's true. And because of that, we, as ALX, we have a program, Professional Foundation, which provides these meta skills from communication and collaboration to adaptability and resilience, leadership and empathy. And so to sum it up, if we are looking at moving forward, these are the skills that is much needed in order for us to equip the next generation of digital as well as tech-ready youth for the job market. Thank you
so much, Benny. That was, I have so many questions, and I'm sure all of you have a lot of questions, right? So write them somewhere so that you don't forget, because there are other questions of interest to all of us that our panelists are going to answer for us. And I'm seeing a lot more ALX people joining in. First, I'll ask you guys why you want to join in, right? Shout out to Dinah, shout out to Success Richmond, Oye, all of you for being here, right? So our next question goes to Thelma. In the interest of time, because we want to give a lot of people the opportunity to ask their questions, if we keep the answers brief and concise, that would be amazing, right? So, Thelma, your question is, AI and automation are changing how we work. It has inspired fear in others, opportunity in some spaces. There are mixed emotions, but the thing is that it's not going anywhere. Like any innovation in the entire world is here to stay. Once human beings have discovered it, it has benefited some people, it has made money for some people. It's not going to go anywhere. So how do we position ourselves to be on the positively receiving end of this revolution? How do you think Ghana's young workforce can leverage AI tools to create opportunities rather than lose them, especially in the context of global remote jobs?
Wow, thank you so much for this question. Very relevant question. But before I jump into answer it, I must say that I'm totally aligned with what Benardine just spoke about. There's so much alignment with what we also do at Bandwidth Global, because we are not just interested in only connecting African professionals, but we are interested in connecting Africans that are well vetted, well trained, and have these soft skills that global employers need. And that is why we are very happy to also be in collaboration with ALX Ghana. So congratulations and kudos on the work you are doing a good job.
Thank
Well,
you.
as you're
Thank you.
saying, as you're saying, AI has come to stay. I mean, it's even growing faster than we could even imagine. And the question is, how do we work around it? Like you said, how do we go around it? How do we embrace it? Not to be afraid of it, that's going to take your job, but how do you leverage on the AI skills? So for me, I always use myself an example. One of the things that I would say is to be a co-creator AI, because whatever we do, it is not going, it is here to stay. So instead of seeing it as a competitor, it's best if you see yourself as a co-creator to the AI tools. Let it help you to leverage your skills to scale up, that you can be that job ready individual that global companies seek after for. And then the second thing I would also say that I'm also passionate about is to AI literate yourself, like learn the tools. Don't say it is too hard for me to learn. Some people are making that mistake when they just see the app, they see the tools, they feel it's out of their scope. But we always have to have that attitude. Like I said earlier, the mindset of continuous learning. Learning is not doesn't just end in the books. It's not just about theory learning or what we studied in the universities, but it is about the everyday changes that we see in the world, in the global world. So keep learning the tools. Use it to maximize your work, make your work smarter. It's not about it's about working smarter. So if you have to leverage an AI tool to make your work smarter, then go ahead, make yourself more attractive to the global employers. Another thing also is to improve yourself in, things that will make your work faster. So let's say if you want to automate your repetitive tasks so that you can have time to concentrate on more impactful tasks that you have to carry on in your day, your research analysis, your marketing, AI marketing is becoming big these days. So leverage on the AI tools rather than being afraid of that. And I think the third thing I want to say is that, I mean, yes, we hear that most people's careers are going to be taken away. Some people say that in 10 years' time, certain jobs will not be there. But I want to say that instead of being afraid of that aspect, rather we should hop on the new career pathways that AI is generating. Like prompt engineering, data annotation, you have AI marketing. I mean, you see yourself as better placed and better valued for international hiring people and employers. So don't be afraid of the new career pathways, but rather hop on the train so that you are not left behind. And I think finally, I would want to say that, however, in as much as we are trying to leverage on AI tools, don't forget that AI can never replace some human attributes. No matter what it does, it cannot. And an example is empathy and passion, right? And I'm going to talk about empathy first, because if you have an anxious client who is on your neck and is creating chaos in your workplace, you cannot bring data or type in ChatGPT, what should I do? No. Some key human attributes like empathy, you may not be able to solve the issue at that particular time, but just that emotional intelligence will give you an ability to calm the client down at that moment so that you don't also lose that business for your company. And like I said, passion. I'm very big about working with passion. If you're doing anything without passion, I think you're on the pathway to failing. Passion is the foundation. And AI, if you're using AI tools, it doesn't see how passionate you are, or your bosses do not see how passionate you are. Global employers do not see how the passion behind what you're typing. Your customers and your clients do not see the passion that you are working with. So in as much as AI is here to stay, and we need to leverage on the AI tools to create more value for ourselves. We don't need to see it as a replacement, but just rather as a co-creator or a co-collaborator or a co-partner. So do not forget your human attributes, like I said, emotional intelligence, empathy, and working with passion. And I think as well, the global employers these days, they are looking for not just tech savvy, individuals and professionals, but they're actually looking for the combination of both. If you ask me, it's a win-win if you have the attributes of being tech savvy and AI savvy and also humanly smart. So it just comes down to one of the things that we do at Bandwidth Global as well. We are not just interested in matching professionals or Africans to employers abroad, but we want to make sure that we are getting the well vetted, well trained, the top tier 1% of African professionals to make Ghana proud on the global stage. So, yeah, thank you.
That's really, really insightful from you, Dean. That's really insightful from you, Thelma. Thank you so much for that answer. I'm sure a lot of people have questions. I've even seen someone ask a few of the questions, but we'll get to that very soon. To remind you, please take notes of your questions. We'll get to the question and answers very soon. So our next question goes to Kwame. Looking ahead, right, Kwame, how can government, academia, and the private sector collaborate more effectively to ensure that digital education directly translates into employability and job creation for young people? I know that in your previous question, you touched on this. You basically gave the roadmap to how they can collaborate, but then how can it all directly translate into the end result that we all want, job creation for the youth?
Thank you so much. I think I would say that, it's beyond job creation for me. I think it's more we have a country to build. And I think that is something that should be emphasized through and through. And I mean, let me just take the opportunity to say big shouts to ALX and then Bandwidth Global and all other entities that are focused on empowering our learners, right, across the board with all of these exciting digital skills and so on and so forth. But before I jump into the question, I just wanted to touch on very quickly. I like that ALX and all of these others are championing this, but then, context matters a lot. And I think that some of the definitions that are being thrown around, like globally, we need to find a way to, in a sense, distill it to our context, because that's what makes it relatable. So beyond, wanting to work for global giants and so on and so forth, I think that there are other areas of opportunity that learners across the board can take advantage of, right? So there's energy, right? Ghana definitely does have an energy issue. Who is exploring solar? Who is, exploring other forms of energy to ensure that we are powered and we are able to work and so on and so forth. There's also huge opportunity in agriculture, right? So there was this WFP report that suggested that Ghana loses 1.2 billion every year to post-harvest losses. There's an opportunity there, right? The other one has to do with housing, right? Ghana has a housing deficit. The other one has to do with waste management, right? How many of you know the Bus Stop Boys, right? The Bus Stop Boys have done an amazing job. They've given us a blueprint as to the mindset that all of us as youth in Ghana and across the continent should begin to think about, right? So they identified the problem of waste management, right? They realized that what's happening in the country is not up to the standard, right? Even though we have our assemblies, we have Zoom Lion and so on and so forth. But then these young people came together and actively went on the ground to solve the problems. And the amazing thing that they did is they began to show it on social media. I don't know how many of you have received an invitation from Mahama or the president, right? Those people have met Mahama more than 3-4 times because of their amazing work and impacts that they are having in our context. That has to stick. Another area that we should consider as well is mining and resource extraction, right? How do we mine our natural resources in a way that is beneficial and keeps us safe? So instead of having Galamsey, we have something else. And we want to have Ghanaians, we want to have young people in those spaces as well. Another one has to do with logistics and transportation, right? How many of you young people are beginning to think about those areas? Another one has to do with research and development, right? There's a huge gap when it comes to research, and there's a huge gap when it comes to applying that research to the developments that we want to see. Huge area, and I think that lots more people should explore those. Another one has to do with entertainment, right? Entertainment has become, a certain way because we are being influenced by the global scene, right? But then where is the authenticity? What do we showcase to the world that makes the world go, oh, this is beautiful, we want to be a part of it? I think that is missing a lot in the conversations that we have. A lot of it is more concerned of learning digital skills to go and work for a global brand. But that global brand started locally. They innovated locally and exported, internationally, right? To the point where they are coming to you guys to come in as employers or no employees, right? But my thing is, our context has a lot of problems. So how do we leverage on all of these skills, including the emerging technology like artificial intelligence, etc., and then connect it to our context? I think that is something that needs to be stressed on. To your question, as a beautiful segue, right? I think that in that vein, it's a no-brainer that policy, academia, and private sector needs to collaborate. If we do admit that we have a country to build, we are all seeking to travel to Dubai, we want to travel to America, we want to travel to Europe, we want to travel to all of the beautiful places. We are running away from, my mom says, before you go out to the world to tell the world that you want to help them lay their bed, lay your own bed. You need to lay your own bed. You need to acquire the skills to be able to lay your own bed, keep your house clean, so that when people come and visit you, there's something that is working. So immediate government, academia, and private sector, they have to collaborate. It's we've had this situation where unfortunately that collaboration is not there. So you have a lot of people who go to university, they write theses, they have capstone projects, but then the moment they are done with those, they are shelved. Right? That's a big issue that needs some attention. It means that there's a disconnect. So to answer your question, one of the things that, if you like, came to my mind immediately was if there's a way we can have a national skills demand platform, right, where government is going to publish, in a sense, rolling regional skills and demand, right, on a dashboard. I'm sure maybe ALX and people from banks surveys, with employers, they can begin to, in a sense, feed that dashboard on the areas that they are looking for, right? So the talents that they might seek, is it sanitation, is it agriculture? If there's a dashboard where academia can begin to see that, oh, these are the priority areas that, in a sense, industry or society is looking for, that is going to inform the sort of courses that are going to be rolled out. So if ALX is doing tech courses, somebody can focus on agri courses, somebody can focus on entertainment courses, somebody can focus on other different things that ensures that people are, the moments they acquire those skills, they know that that's what society is looking for. And so obviously that marriage is going to happen seamlessly. And this is because curriculum has to be responsive to the real labor demand on the ground. The other one, very quickly for me, will have to do with work, something I call work integrated learning, right? So we need to mandate and fund industry placements, right? Industry placements, apprenticeships, and capstones for tertiary students and teacher trainees. We need to find ways to incentivize businesses to host interns, right? And the outcome of this really is to get students or learners to the point where they have demonstrable skills. Because I'm sure with ALX and bandwidth, you want talents that has demonstrable skills. You want people who in terms of hard skills, they have the stuff. In terms of the soft skills, they have the stuff. So is there a way we can organize and get industry, academia, and then policy to meet at an intersection where they all agree that we need to empower the next generation that is going to help us build the country that we want to build? And so we need to find a way to collaborate practically meaningfully to get us those outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kwame. To answer your question, I'm sure there's an answer. There's just not an easy way to get to that answer because of the many factors, the global economy, people.
Yeah.
There's just not an easy way to get to that answer. But with a lot of initiative and collaboration, poking at the bear, probably the answer will show
Yes.
up, right? So thank you so
Absolutely.
much. If you have any questions for Kwame, please note them down and put them in the comments. So finally, for Benardine, community plays a huge role in growth and success. We know that in our community, in the ALX community, what helps people to stay the course and finish what they came in here to do is because of the people around them. It's one of the key drivers of them graduating and gaining the skills that they want to gain so that they can further better their lives and their careers. So how do you think community-based learning models can help close Ghana's digital skills gap faster and more sustainably?
Thank you, Eurica. Before I go, there was something that Thelma said that don't say it's too hard, and it just took me back to, at the moment I'm studying data science, and if you look at my background, why am I studying data science? I've never liked math. I've never liked anything to do with calculation, Excel sheets or something, but I have to learn it because of where the world is going. Now back to the question that you asked, Eurica. Why does community matter so much in learning? And the answer is simple. Community multiplies learning. And studies show that online learning, including one done by the Digital Education Review, shows that learners in peer-based communities, and the emphasis is on peer-based communities, are twice as likely to complete courses and retain 60% more information compared to those learning in isolation. So at ALX, we see this daily. It's even part of the reasons why we have hubs. Now, we know that there are other online learning platforms, but you hardly hear the fact that they do have hubs or they have in-person meetings. Now, our learners thrive because they are never learning alone. There is the idea of motivation and accountability, where learners join a cohort and they do join a family. Now, let's give an example like Reddit or Discord. And if you're a programmer or if you're someone who is into learning, you would have heard about these platforms. And ALS communities thrive on belonging and engagement. Learners share wins, struggles, memes. And when I talk about memes, I mean memes and motivation. Just the same way as we would have on Discord, where Discord servers for coding bootcamps, for instance, have proven to boost persistence and emotional resilience. ALX mirrors this digitally and physically through virtual channels, WhatsApp groups, and local hub meetups. As I mentioned already, we do have local hubs where ALX is in the other countries. We equally have peer learning and problem solving, and this all has to do with community. And community creates safe spaces to fail fast and learn faster. An example is a learner might post a challenge about debugging a Python code, and within minutes, and you do see it on our WhatsApp platform, on our online community platforms, another peer just responding and being present and saying, oh, I know this problem, I have a solution, or let's meet up and figure this out together. And that exchange teaches collaboration, community, humility. And humility, I stress on that because that's something that we at ALX, we are very consistent with. This is what we also see on Reddit, learning forums like our learning program. And I'm sure if you're a programmer, you've heard of this. Learners teaching other learners when there is a problem or when they need someone to talk them through a problem they are facing. It's the same model we use through peer facilitation and cohort-based discussions at ALX. Now we go on to professional network and soft skill development. we don't learn soft skills from books, and Thelma did say it. We do not learn it from books. We learn it from emergent relationships. When learners debate, co-create, and lead group tasks, they build communication, empathy, and leadership muscles naturally. Because right now, nobody is going to tell you, we think you should do it this way. But through practice and continuous engagement with your peers, it just comes to you naturally. We equally have sustainability and skill for community learning, and this is reinforced in all that we do. And when we have our alumni who still engage with our learning community, as well as we still engage with our alumni. We engage them in the field of mentorship. If we need to host a program, we still go into our community to get our alumni as well as our learners. And this shows that knowledge doesn't leave, it compounds. Okay, that's how we make digital skills training sustainable and scalable across Ghana. So for ALX, you can easily say it's from Ghana to Tamale to Morocco to Nigeria, everywhere. You get that community build up. Just as a way to conclude, when we talk about building Ghana's digital workforce, we are really talking about building communities of practice where skills, identity and purpose intersect. If Ghana's youth are to compete globally, they'll need both hard digital skills, fluency, and human soft skills, mastery. And most importantly, they will need each other. Thank you, Eurica.
That's a very, very insightful question, Benny. Thank you so much for answering. Thank you to all of our panelists for all of these insights into their minds, into their expertise. So now we've come to the part where everyone is waiting for, or most of our audience is waiting for, the questions and answers. Gideon is asking, Benny, please, Gideon is asking for a hub in Kumasi. I mean, what do you have to say to that? I want to leave that to answer.
Thank you, Gideon. So
for you to answer.
At the moment, we have a fiscal hub in Accra, which is One Airport Square, But in terms of the other regions, we have community champions, and they do meet in person. They do have activities in person. They do find time to connect and have peer learning as well as peer connection in person. So we do have it in all the regions. And so, yes, no fiscal hub, but we do make other spaces into fiscal hub. It's almost like when in the Bible, when you are looking at worship, they say wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, God is there. So wherever 2 or 3 ALX members meet, ALX is like fiscally there.
Exactly.
So,
very well said.
Who is a community champion for Eastern region. So yeah, we do have like people meeting fiscally in these spaces. Thank you, Gideon. Thank you, Dina. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Dina. It's so, you don't know how Benny and I are so happy to see like our learners just being here and being engaged in whatever that we do, right? So my next question goes to Thelma. Ahmed Salim is asking, will AI replace software engineers? Ahmed, this one there has started. Like, I'm just gonna prequel that. It has already started, but I'm going to let Thelma continue on that. So, Thelma, what do you think? Will AI replace software engineers, or has it basically already started?
Replace the work of software engineers. You still need to have your human attributes included in whatever you are doing. Innovation of original ideas, it comes from the human mind. Nothing can replace that. So in as much as it is here to help us, it is here to stay, I don't envision it replacing software engineers. It is only here to enhance the work that we humans are feeding into the AI, because at the end of the day, it's still a machine, it's still technology, it's still digital tools. So yeah.
Yeah, very well said, Thelma. And then Ahmed, you should remember that those who are creating the vibe coding AIs, the ones that you can code by yourself, software engineers are creating those things, right? So it's exactly like Thelma said. You don't just need your skills, you need your human ability, you need your passion, you need your empathy, and you need your innovation and creativity to be able to be like a software engineer. You can only direct the AI, right? So let me see. All right, learner-led learning. Okay. Are there any more questions for us? And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for making it on this webinar. We really appreciate you, especially to our ALX community. We absolutely love you. And if you are new to ALX or you're hearing ALX for the first time, you don't know what to do about that, you can just search us up on Instagram, post any questions that you might have, check out our website in our Instagram bios or any other social media, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we will assist you in whatever that you need to know. Thank you so much. Let me see, are there any more new questions? Okay, Success Richmond says, AI will not replace software engineers, but rather will assist and collaborate. Okay. Gideon, everyone is saying learn. Is learning the same as prompting, like normal prompts we do? How does a front-end developer learn AI? Oh, I'm going to direct this question to Thelma again. Yes.
Sorry, the question again.
So Gideon wants to know, how does a front-end developer learn AI?
Oh, okay. Just so how you can take a course, you can take an AI course that would enhance what you already know. I believe you can do that. You just need to advance yourself in the level that you are at. You just need to go at a step higher. So that's what I think.
Okay. Thank you so much, Thelma. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Thank you for... This is how I used to think after going through eyes. Recently, I've learned a lot about AI. Success Richmond just said what I was about to say. For ALX, if you don't know anything about AI, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to start learning, ALX has a crash course on AI and AI tools that we keep updating every single time, because as we mentioned, the world of AI is moving very fast. So even if we are just touching on Gemini in a certain level of the ICE course, next year we're going to add new tools. Next year we're going to add new tools, because the world is moving very quickly when it comes to AI. So if you don't know what to start with AI, just search up ALX Ghana on your web browser, tap on our website, and register your interest for AI Career Essentials course. It's a crash course on everything. I mean, if there's any ICE alumni here, please just give an honest review. I've not paid anybody to come and say anything about ICE. Just give an honest review. Success, Jacob, what did you think of ICE? How did it help you? Success already saying that he's learned a lot about AI when it comes to ICE. So if you don't know where to start with us. Yes. Okay. I want to take this moment to thank our panelists, Benardine Ghanson, Kwame Nyatuame, and Thelma Deku. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your expertise. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you primarily to the Ghana Digital Innovation Week for partnering us on this webinar. And thank you so much to the Africa Discourse Channel for facilitating this session so very seamlessly. Thank you to every single attendee on this webinar. This couldn't have been anything without you. And just to help the ones who joined late, we want to play a success story from ALX again, just in case you joined late. Maybe some of our alumni will recognize.
Hi, my name is Manny, and I landed a job in tech without a degree. This is how I did it. I'm very passionate about tech, but at some point in my learning process, I felt stuck. So I joined the ALX software engineering program, and after graduation, I am now working as a backend engineer writing systems at higher data. The one thing I realized very early on was what I'm learning in the ALX software engineering program and what I'm doing at higher data are very similar in the sense of collaboration, what we do with code and leadership. If you're feeling stuck, find a supportive community doing what you love. Put yourself out there and don't stop learning.
Thank you so much. We hope that touches more than just your visuals, right? We hope that pushes you to recognize that there are opportunities everywhere, and all you need to do is just go after them. So thank you to everyone. Africa Discourse Channel, can we have like some music, some drama to drop us off? Yes.
Hi, Nakode here, and welcome to Africa Discourse Channel. Imagine a place where ideas flow freely, like the great rivers of our great continent Africa, where stories about innovation, growth, and then ideas that are painting and shaping Africa are being told. From the Cape to the Sahara, and then from the tech startups happening in Lagos to Nairobi, where the tech innovations are, ADC brings you the stories that matter, the conversations that are inspiring our generation, and then ideas that are transforming Africa. But hey, it's not always serious business here at ADC. We also give you the scoop into the latest trends happening around the continent, untold stories in Africa, and a large dose of fun and entertainment. Join us as we delve in, explore, laugh, share ideas, share stories, and maybe you can find your next big idea on Africa Discourse Channel. Welcome to Africa Discourse Channel. Catch up with us at www.discoursechannel.com and follow us on all our social media pages at Africa Discourse Channel and get the latest scoops into the trends happening in Africa and news about Africa around the globe.